Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the most dangerous combat sport in the world, American politics. And once again, I'm your host, Ted King. And today we're going to be talking about this up and coming revolution. I said revolution. About the Epstein class. Yes, there is going to be a revolution against the Epstein class, the so-called Epstein class. Well, it's been around a long time. It just hasn't been called the Epstein class. It's been called things like, well, I don't want to get too political about this, but you know what I'm talking about. It's been called a lot of different things. But now, they are now calling this group of class people, a class of people who are pretty much untouchable, have been pretty much untouchables, and it's not just in the United States, but it's actually international. I don't want to say use the word cabal, right? I tried to use that word the other day in one of my videos. I want to use the word cabal, right? I'm gonna look up the word, what it means. I know it means something that doesn't mean a good thing. But anyway, yeah, so it's now been revealed based on the situation going over there across the pond with the monarchy. You know, one of the monarchs, or was a monarch, before he got himself too involved in this Epstein situation. But they had already, took the steps to put him in his place. That was a sign right there that there was something going on, although there wasn't the exposure that it is today. But yeah, so this is going to change this whole dynamic about how things are the classes are looked upon in the United States, especially because the United States is arguably the most powerful country in the world. So you would think, you know, when it comes down to the most powerful country in the world, that the elite, the most sought after high echelon of individuals who want to come to the United States to get at least some sort of protection, right? To do some type of business, go back and forth with certain individuals where they can be viewed as untouchable. So that's where it gets to now. But now they have went a little bit too far because they went ahead and they allowed an individual to be in the office of the highest office of arguably the world, not once but twice, and thought that things were going to be running smoother than ever. And now that has been exposed, and oh, by the way, there is still, this one individual who has not, I mean, he is exposed, but it's like I had a program, we have a program called the Kings and Priests, Biblical Agreements and Discourse. You need to tune into that, because every now and again we talk about this a president of ours, and how him and Epstein can be seen in several photos and even documentation that they were best of friends for at least 10 years, but yet whatever Epstein was doing was not the same thing as the other individual. Donald Trump was never involved in none of that kind of stuff. You know, but at the same time has been all these, I mean, listen, documentation of grabbing them in the private parts and doing anything you want to do if you're a star, and on and on and on and on and on. But yet and still, no. And did we forget the 34 felony convictions? But no. This individual would never do anything.
I mentioned the president's response where he told ABC News just a few hours after this happened, she probably had herself sprayed, knowing her. Before you respond, I do want to remind everyone that when President Trump was nearly assassinated, you responded and said, we must condemn acts of violence and pray for the victims, may calmness and decency prevail. And you said it was sad to hear the tragedy that had occurred. What went through your mind when you heard the president's response last night?
Well, the difference between the president and I is that I was raised to be a decent human being, and my faith teaches me to have compassion. And he lacks both of those things.